Number 10. The leaked video at the nightclub with Alex. In late September, a video started to circulate the web, and in the video you can see Ned Fulmer and his employee, Alex Herring, engaging in some pretty heavy PDA at the club in New York City. This video would come to prove the final clue to the puzzle to prove that Ned Fulmer was the ultimate cheater. While the cheating scandal would come to a shock to most, since Ned was always pictured as this perfect wife guy, many were quick to note that they always got this weird vibe off of Ned. Ned was also known to gush about his wife throughout the show, so when the scandal broke news, many felt like it was the ultimate betrayal. Ultimately, Ned didn't try to deny his infidelity and admitted he had a consensual workplace relationship with his co-worker. The Try Guys have since removed Ned from any of the Try Guys videos, and they no longer see a path moving forward together. 9. Over-gushing about his wife. When a guy bases his entire personality off of one thing, you should definitely start considering who this person really is, especially when it comes to every episode. My wife, my wife, my wife, my wife. And even in one of Ned's past employees picked up on the clues. In an interview with past employee Sarah Pohl, she shared her personal experiences working with Ned at BuzzFeed when he was the co-creator and executive producer. Sarah noted she was not a fan of working with Fulmer, and over the course of time she expressed her feelings to her co-workers, but everybody played her out to be the wrong one. Sarah noted that she could tell Ned wasn't faithful with his wife and threw shade at the YouTuber by saying, "Don't trust people that make one thing their entire personality." Before ending the interview, she noted that the whole cheating scandal was a lesson to be learned by everyone involved, because it was pretty obvious he was cheating before the cheating rumors even started to circulate. Number 8. The lie detector episode. In a video called The Try Guys Take a Lie Detector Test, at the start of the video, Ned is asked if he's keeping secrets from the rest of the Try Guy crew. When Ned responds, "I don't think so," it comes back as a lie. Many have speculated that the secret was in fact his relationship with Alex Herring. However, what makes this episode even more suspicious is when they asked Eugene if he secretly thought that Ned and his wife were going to get divorced someday. When Eugene said no and the lie detector came back saying Eugene was lying, no one thought anything about it. However, now it leaves you to question, did the Try Guys lie about knowing about Ned's infidelity? Well, the answer is yes, because how could you know someone would get divorced one day if you didn't know what they were up to? The episode then goes on to ask Ned if he believed if he had a better marriage than John. Ned went on to say, "I assume, yeah. He's in older marriages, and as you get older, you know, it tends to get not so good." He then highlights that him and his wife have stuff going on, and everybody does. The tension was definitely building for that moment, but it's clear throughout the episode the team was highlighting the fact that Ned was cheating on his wife, and none of us were picking up on it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. The episode about cheating. In an episode with Ned and Kelsey, Ned asked Kelsey if she's ever cheated on any of her partners. When she answers yes, Ned acted overly surprised, almost as if he was like, "Yeah, I can relate." And throughout the episode, he stayed like that, and he was really interested in the topic. The episode states what counts as cheating and how you can bounce back from it. The two went on to say, if you feel like you're cheating, you probably are. Kelsey then goes on to say, and if you ever cheat on anyone, you should never tell them, because it's your punishment for cheating on someone, and you have to keep that burden on you, and you have to live with that guilt. And if you do end up telling someone, all you're actually doing is doing yourself a favor. Throughout this statement, you can see Ned let out a sigh of relief and laugh, like he was glad someone told him not to tell his partner he was cheating, and that he needed just to feel guilty. He then goes on to highlight that if someone does cheat, it indicates that there are some deeper problems, and by keeping it in, it does more harm, so you should always tell your person. So why did he never tell Ariel about his affair? He then admits that one time he was in Chicago with his friends while Ariel was asleep, and while his wife was sleeping, he was out dancing with a girl or two and got a little close. He did talk to his wife about it after, but did he tell her the exact truth? Number 6, caught out for dinner with Alex Herring. Just days after the cheating scandal broke, a woman on TikTok claimed she caught Ned cheating in May. In a video posted to the TikTok user's page, she alleged to her followers that she saw Ned out for lunch at Castaway in Burbank, California, back in May with a woman who was not his wife. In the caption, she went to say, "Tried to warn the wifey." She then claimed that she sent the video of Ned to Ariel at the time, writing, "Hi, I'm not sure of the ins and outs of your marriage, and I'm not trying to start anything. However, I would like to know if this was my husband." She then went on to note that she told Ariel it was either her husband or his doppelganger, and that she saw him there with a younger girl with dark long hair, and they were kissing in some of the photos and videos she took of them. Ariel either never saw these messages or chose to never respond. It makes you wonder, did she know about the affair happening for months? And if she did, why did she never say anything? 5. Body language. If you ever watched the Try Guy videos, any episode Alex and Ned were in, there was definitely tension between the stars. And if you ever notice to go back and watch a couple of the videos, you'll see the two's body language indicated they were having an affair. They would be over giggly, they would talk to each other like they were on a first date. They would also sit extremely close to each other, and anytime Ned would say something, Alex was laughing. The two have been hinting at their affair for quite some time now. However, none of us thought to question it because of the amount of time Ned chose to gush over his wife. We were blinded by the innocence that we failed to notice the chemistry happening in front of our eyes. And if we could notice it now, then the Try Guys definitely noticed it a long time ago. So if you haven't noticed the chemistry from these two, go back, watch a couple videos, because you'll definitely notice certain moments with the stars together in the same room will hit different and make you really question, why didn't we notice before? Number 4, the double dip in the sauce. In an episode Alex would appear in without Ned, the group would be trying chicken and sauces. When Zach went to dip, he chose the oat milk and Ariel passed it to him. When the group labeled it as a bad move, Zach went on to say it was actually pretty good. The group then goes on to note that it was such a Ned move, and then Zach threw some shade at Ned by saying he was dipping it in water and Leslie should get over in the video. While the group was laughing, saying there's probably a Leslie somewhere out there, throwing her hands up in the air yelling yes, Alex went on to say, "I miss Ned," and I'm sure she really did. Just after she says she misses Ned, Zach then takes her sauce cup and dips it into the oat milk for the second time. So it makes you wonder, so the dip was a hint that there was a deeper meaning to Ned's and Ariel's fun, or did Zach actually like the taste of his chicken with oat milk? Number 3, his dad. While talking to his dad about the time his dad separated from Ned's mom, Ned admitted to his dad he was young and stupid, and when he found out his dad had separated from his mom, he had a feeling as if he should see multiple people at the same time, and that's just what he did. Ned felt because his dad was out seeing other women, it was okay for him to as well. Now, it wasn't clear if he was with Ariel at this time. However, Ned did admit at one point he was seeing multiple people because he felt like it was okay because his dad was doing the same thing. It is clear, however, Ned was struggling to connect with his dad and felt that other women would satisfy his deeper connection he was looking for. If psychology has taught us anything, it's that when people feel abandonment, it can lead them to cheat. So was Ned's cheating on Ariel related to his father leaving him, or was there just a deeper meaning behind the scandal? And number 2, the Try Guys video. After the cheating scandal broke headlines, the Try Guys wanted to clear the air. In a video called What Happened posted to their official YouTube page, the current members, Eugene, Zach, and Keith, addressed their fans about the scandal, and they appeared to be upset by the whole matter. They revealed that they were made aware of the sightings with Ned and Alex on Labor Day Day weekend, and that they also had their own suspicions about the affair, and that they were entering into a 3-week process of engaging with employment lawyers, corporate lawyers, HR, PR, and the group was making sure that they were taking all necessary steps to address the issue at hand. The group went on to say that they were taking these allegations really seriously and that they were refusing to sweep anything under the rug, and they didn't stand for the current situation. The group said that pending an investigation, they have edited out Ned from videos, and some videos will not be released due to Ned's heavily involvement in them. The group did intend to handle the situation differently, but with the sudden seriousness of the allegations, it forced them to address it sooner. They noted they were all shocked and deeply hurt, and they went on to note that they were losing a friend and someone they built a company with, but they were firing Ned because they no longer saw a path moving forward together any longer. At number 1, we have his apology. We have to give it to Ned for not trying to sweep this under the rug like many other stars have done in the past. Instead of lying about the affair, Ned came out to say it was true. In a statement to his wife he posted to his Instagram feed, Ned went on to say, "My family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and I had a consensual workplace relationship. I'm sorry for any pain that my action may have caused to the guys and to the fans, but most of all to Ariel. The only thing that matters right now is my marriage and my children, and that's where I'm going to focus my attention." Around the same time, Ariel shared a similar statement and asked everybody to respect the couple's privacy for the sake of the couple's children. With Ned no longer being a part of the Try Guys for his actions, he's gonna have a lot of time to focus on his family and everything that has happened.
At number 10, Kenya Duke and Gary Owen. Imagine being betrayed by your partner after 20 years of marriage. Well, that's essentially what Kenya Duke went through after she found out that her husband Gary Owen had been cheating. Kenya Duke filed for divorce in March of this year, making allegations that her husband had been unfaithful in their marriage. After news broke of their divorce filing, Kenya took to her Instagram to imply that her husband had an affair with a woman from Dallas, someone who was mutual friends with Gary and reality TV star Claudia Jordan. In a now deleted Instagram post, Kenya sent a message to the other woman, whom she calls Dallas, Texas, saying, quote, "Dallas, Texas, I have your info. I'm going to deal with you in a minute. I'm a little busy now. You can have him, but you can't disrespect me and my kids in the process. At Gary Owen Comedy, let her know a storm is coming. You should know better. Married, not separated. Married." End quote. But Kenya wasn't done clapping back though, because she also followed this message up with one that was meant for her husband, where she said, quote, "All the energy you spent lying, acting, and creating a fake narrative for these women that you want to be me, you could have done it with a veggie burger and a glass of fake filtered water." End quote. I've said it in every single one of these videos, but being with a cheater just means you married an awful person. At number 9, Tiger Woods and Ellen Norgren. One of the most famous cheating scandals from pro golfer Tiger Woods in 2009 shattered his golden boy image and made him look like an awful person. It all started with a car crash. Tiger had crashed his Cadillac into a fire hydrant, and this incident made headlines, but it also drew attention to another headline that he had made days earlier after tabloids published a story alleging that Tiger was having an affair with a nightclub manager. Soon, one alleged affair turned into many more, as 6 women ended up coming forward, saying that they had also had intimate relationships with the golfer. His wife was understandably furious to find out about all of her husband's affairs, and their marriage was ruined after that. I'm sure she no doubt regretted ever marrying such an awful person in the first place. Before we continue talking about celebrities who made horrible marriage decisions, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video to help support the channel, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver. Actor and former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was caught in a very messy and high-profile cheating scandal that not only brought life into the world but ruined relationships and turned him into an awful person. In 1997, Arnold had an affair with the family's former housekeeper Patty, and she soon became pregnant with his son. At the very same time, Arnold's wife was also expecting their 4th kid. As if the universe wanted to make things extra chaotic for Arnold, both his wife and mistress ended up giving birth within 5 days of each other, though they wouldn't know about one another until about a decade later. But much like all secrets, they come out eventually, and Arnold ended up coming clean to his wife about his affair in 2007. This information wasn't immediately shared with the public until 2011, where things blew up. Arnold revealed his infidelity to the public after announcing that he and his wife like Maria were separating, while also revealing the truth about his kid with his mistress. This wasn't fair to Arnold's wife nor his mistress because this secret really blew up their lives and it affected their kids too, so Maria certainly married someone awful. At number 7, Woody Allen and Mia Farrow. Now, even though they weren't actually married, I felt like I had to include Woody Allen and Mia Farrow's relationship on here because of just how messed up it was, because Woody had an affair with Mia's adopted daughter, and that is seriously messed up. Mia's daughter Soon-Yi was adopted when she was about 7 years old, and because Mia and Woody were together, Woody became a father figure to her. In 1992, when Soon-Yi was 21, Mia discovered that her daughter and her partner Woody were in a secret relationship when she found intimate photos of Soon-Yi. When Mia confronted Woody, he revealed that he and Soon-Yi had been together for a short time and that he was in love with her. This subsequently ended their relationship, and Allen moved on with Soon-Yi, later getting married in 1997. When reports came out about their marriage, this took a lot of people by surprise and made a lot of people angry. Woody was deemed a pretty horrible person for getting with Mia's daughter, and people haven't been able to stop thinking about how creepy and wrong that is. Woody and Soon-Yi seem fine with it all, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Woody is an awful person for that. At number 6, David Letterman and Regina Lasko. When people are having an affair, they become very secretive as to not get caught, but in most cases, cheaters are almost always exposed so people can see what a horrible person this cheater is. This is what happened with David Letterman, as someone caught wind of his scandalous extramarital entanglements. In October 2009, on his late night talk show, David Letterman got serious with his audience and he exposed his affair and revealed to the public that he had been intimately involved with someone from the studio. He also revealed that this revelation he is sharing was because someone was threatening to blackmail him for $2 million. He said that one day he found a mysterious package sitting in his car and it included proof of his affair and a demand to be paid in order to keep things quiet. He said that if he didn't pay up, his blackmailer would reveal his secrets to the public, but rather than get swallowed up in the scandal, he faced it head on. Soon details of his affairs started to come to light, detailing how he had slept with women who worked for him at the studio. He was married at the time of this scandal and remains so to this day. The couple were able to work through things, but David is still an awful person for cheating on his spouse. At number 5, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Brangelina used to be one of the hottest celebrity matches in Hollywood, but ever since their split, it's been dark times for them, especially Brad. Once upon a time, they were seen as the industry's it couple, having spanned over 10 years and raising many kids together, but their divorce is where things get toxic and messy. When the couple announced that they were calling it quits in 2016, a lot of people wondered why, and one of the answers given was because of a dispute that Brad had allegedly had with Angelina about his substance abuse that resulted in Brad getting into an altercation with their oldest son, Maddox. It was alleged that Brad was hurting others, and though an investigation cleared him of said allegations, Angie is now saying that she's prepared to share proof that Brad was in fact hurting his family. Recently, Angelina came forward saying that she's willing to offer her children's testimony against Brad as proof, and this could blow the doors off their relationship, giving us more information as to how toxic things really were. The fact that Angie claims to have proof of how bad things were shows how serious the situation was, and the fact that there's been so much drama and allegations against Brad, he might be considered to be an awful person. At number 4, Eminem and Kim Mathers. When asked about some toxic relationships they know of, a surprising amount of people reference Eminem and his ex-wife Kim Mathers because of their rocky past and marriage. Eminem met Kim in a youth home in 1988 when they were teenagers. From that point on, they stayed by each other's side even when living together at Eminem's mother's house. From that point until 1999, the two had a rocky and sort of toxic relationship, being an on and off again couple. In 1995, they had a daughter, and in 1999, the two ended up getting married. Their wedding took place on June 14th, 1999, just before Marshall's first major tour as his career was taking off. Kim said later on that this tour took the greatest toll on their marriage, saying, quote, "When Marshall's first tour started is when his ego just went poof, like he was God, that's what he thought. I was told that I should be grateful that he still talks to me. You know how many women throw themselves at him? And I just pretty much felt like a piece of crap." End quote. From then, their marriage went downhill as they were met with cheating scandals and mental health struggles. Eventually, they got a divorce in 2000, remarried in 2006, then divorced again, this time ending things for good. Because of how toxic things were between them, I guess it could be argued that Eminem was an awful partner. At number 3, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Now, having a list of celebrities who married awful people, you already know we're going to include Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's tumultuous relationship. A lot was uncovered during their massive court case last year that basically exposed Amber for having hurt Johnny Johnny while they were together and having been a horrible partner. We heard stories about Amber severing Johnny's finger with a glass bottle, many of the fights that they had, and even recordings of Amber antagonizing and hurting Johnny. There were instances of physical mistreatment as well as verbal and emotional as well, showing the world how toxic things really were behind closed doors. We found out about how Amber had been cheating on Johnny and how she allegedly went out of her way to outshine him in their industry, always being ready to make big headlines to overshadow him. Amber was no doubt one of the most awful people a celebrity could have married. At number 2, Kim Kardashian and Damon Thomas. Before Kim Kardashian was ever with Kanye West or Kris Humphries, she was married to a man named Damon Thomas. Kim and Damon eloped in 2000 when Kim was 19, but their marriage only lasted until 2004. Damon was 10 years older than her, and Kim accused him of, quote, poisoning her against her friends and family, and that he urged her to drop out of college. Kim also said that he would be violent towards her. On top of that, she's also said that Damon encouraged her to get plastic surgery so that she would look perfect. On the flip side of this, Damon alleged that Kim was only accusing him of all that in an attempt to get more money out of him in the divorce settlement. Either way, it sounds like Kim went through a lot of negativity with him, and she certainly married an awful person. And finally, at number 1, Kathy Griffin and Matthew Modine. In a relationship, when trust is broken, it's very hard to rebuild it. That's why a lot of relationships and marriages crumble, and this is part of the reason why Kathy Griffin divorced her husband Matthew Modine in 2005. Kathy opened up about what broke their marriage when talking to Larry King when she said, quote, my ex-husband, without my knowledge, was sneaking into my wallet when I was asleep in the mornings and taking my ATM cards of my own private accounts and withdrawing money. He admitted it and apologized, and we went to couples therapy. I really wanted to make it work. Unfortunately, we were not able to get beyond the trust issue. To steal from your partner is super sketchy and makes you a pretty awful person, because not only are you breaking trust and being dishonest, but you're taking something away from this person who worked really hard to acquire it. At number 10, Luann and Tom D'Agostino. Real Housewives of New York cast members Luann and Tom D'Agostino weren't the greatest pair, and everyone on set could have told you that. The toxicity ran deep with these two, but most of it stemmed from Tom. The other cast members actually warned Luann about Tom, saying that he was untrustworthy and that he was still in love with his ex, but even with that warning, Luann continued her romance and the two got married on New Year's Eve in 2016. At the end of the show's 8th season, it was revealed that one of the cast members had compromising photos of Tom kissing another woman just days after his and Luann's engagement party. This was a big red flag, as you could imagine. Soon it became apparent to the public that there were some serious problems in their relationship, as Luann and Tom got into a heated argument in public at a restaurant, which ended with Luann slapping Tom across the face. This heated relationship and Tom's constant cheating never subsided, as days before their divorce announcement, Tom was caught with yet another woman, but at that point, no one was really all that surprised. They were only married for 7 months, but those were the craziest 7 months of their lives. Luann regrets not listening to her castmates when they warned her about Tom, and she wishes she never married such an awful person. At number 9, Chad Johnson and Evelyn Lozada. Chad Johnson, also known as Chad Ochocinco, and ex-wife Evelyn Lozada were only married for 2 months, but so much happened in that short amount of time to permanently damage their relationship. Their relationship was intense and toxic, but it wasn't until after they got married that the world really learned just how awful it was. After dating for less than a year, the two were wed in a 4th of July ceremony in 2012, but just 2 months later there came an incident that broke them apart. Evelyn recalled finding a receipt in Chad's car for items that prompted the idea that Chad was cheating. The two fought, and it all ended with Chad seriously injuring his wife. Chad was arrested for battery and DV, and they divorced shortly after the incident. Evelyn did an interview after the ordeal where she opened up about her feelings on the situation and how her life had been affected by it. After that, the couple split up and moved on with their lives. Before we carry on talking about some of the worst celebrity marriages, let me first ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also consider subscribing to the channel as well to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Elizabeth Taylor and Conrad Hilton. Elizabeth Taylor was one of Hollywood's most memorable icons, and surprisingly, she was married 8 times. She had many stories and encounters to recall throughout her life, but one of her shortest and most regrettable marriages she had was to hotel heir Conrad Hilton. The two were only married for 205 days before undoing their marriage after feeling neglected and hurt by her new husband. She was only 18 at the time of her marriage, but shortly after their wedding, Liz recalled how indifferent Conrad was towards her and how hurt she felt when he spoke to her using abusive language. Liz won her divorce on the grounds of mental cruelty. She refused alimony and took back her maiden name. It was almost like it never happened and Liz wanted it that way. She knew that she deserved better in life and refused to put up with Conrad's horrible treatment of her. During their honeymoon, the two reportedly fought a lot and spent more time apart than they did together, so this was one of the first red flags that things just weren't right between them. She later told news sources that her idea of marriage was very naive and so she regretted her decision. She lived a better life without him anyway. At number 7, Ike and Tina Turner. Tina Turner is an absolute legend. And to think that someone would ever want to hurt this talented woman is honestly so sad. Ike and Tina were a musical powerhouse, but they had a tumultuous and toxic relationship, leaving Tina regretting having ever known him. The two met while Tina was still a teenager, and they began performing together, starting their musical act. In 1962, the two got married and continued to perform together for the following decade. Though they were a successful duo, Ike had been severely hurting Tina behind the scenes, causing her so much pain that she didn't deserve and even prompting her to try to take her own life. After surviving her attempt, she made it her mission to leave Ike and begin a fresh start on her own. That's exactly what she did, and she became an even bigger star because of it. At number 6, Jennifer Lopez and Ojani Noah. Jennifer Lopez is no stranger to walking down the aisle. She's been married 3 times already, but the one relationship that was her worst was her first marriage to Ojani Noah. Their marriage lasted less than a year, but their tumultuous drama that came after their divorce has lasted much longer. It seems as though their relationship was destined to fail, as Ojani documented a lot of JLo's life behind the scenes, saving it for later for his own tea spill. Noah tried leaking videos from the couple's honeymoon after their divorce, showing the singer in an intimate setting, and in years since has been very outspoken about the singer, her career, and even had plans to release a tell-all book about his ex, followed by a movie deal. He really came into the relationship for his own personal gain, not for love, it seems. JLo actually ended up suing Ojani in 2009 for $10 million, citing that the videos he released as well as the book and movie deals violated an agreement that they had, which prohibited him from exposing the singer's life. Jennifer now looks back on this relationship with regret and doesn't even count her marriage to Ojani as valid because of how short it was. At number 5, John Finlay and Joe Exotic. We all know about Joe Exotic and his crazy relationships. After he gained a little fame with the success of the Tiger King documentary on Netflix last year, he and the others involved in his life became sort of public figures. To give us more insight on Joe, his ex-husband John Finlay recently came forward to talk about his life after the documentary brought him some minor popularity, and he exposed his former relationship with the now imprisoned Big Cat owner and exposed their marriage. John cannot express enough how regretful his marriage to Joe Exotic was. John said that this whole marriage was fake and toxic and that it was just for Joe's popularity, remarking that the wedding that was shown in the documentary, which showed him, Joe, and Travis Maldonado, was all, quote, basically a publicity stunt so Joe could get his own reality TV series, end quote. John spoke out saying that he still carries the pain from his time with Joe and is trying to forget his past by moving on with his new wife and making steps towards having the tattoos of Joe removed from his body. Joe went through a lot of trauma when he was with Joe, but luckily he's moving on from this dark time in his life. At number 4, Madonna and Guy Ritchie. Here's a marriage that was messy and toxic in every way possible. Madonna and Guy Ritchie divorced over 10 years ago, but their hatred towards one another still lives on, even if it's not as much as it used to be. The two were married for almost a decade, but their distaste for one another has lasted much longer, and because of this negativity, they no doubt regret ever being married in the first place. They both brought their own toxicity into the relationship, so I guess it could be said that they both married awful people because they were just as bad as each other. It seems like their marriage turned sour because Madonna was working so hard on her career, and so things became strained between them and the hostility began to grow. Coming out of the divorce, the worst of it started to come out. Guy made a lot of harsh comments about his marriage to Madonna, comparing his relationship with the singer to a soap opera, and also said that she was more concerned with her public image than she was with their marriage. Madonna fired back at her ex in the past, saying that she felt like she was incarcerated during their marriage and that Guy was nothing but a gold digger. There was just a lot of drama there, which really shows that they weren't a good match at all. At number 3, Wendy Williams and Kevin Hunter Sr. In 2019, talk show host Wendy Williams, exposed her husband's serious affair with his massage therapist. Wendy's 20-year marriage to husband Kevin Hunter Sr. was dissolved after he was accused of not only cheating on Wendy but also fathering another woman's child. When news broke of Kevin's affair, it was also revealed that the mistress had given birth to their child, and upon discovering this information, Wendy called it quits right then and there. When speaking out about the whole dramatic affair, Wendy said, quote, "Look, my husband had a full baby with a woman he was involved with for 15 years. Infidelity is one thing, a full baby is a whole nother topic. A baby. I'm not changing Pampers. I want to be pampered. I learned from my mother how to make lemons into lemonade. What am I supposed to do? Stay in the house and cry all day?" End quote. She definitely regrets her marriage to Kevin just because of how serious his affair was. She married an awful person because not only did he end up cheating on Wendy, but he had a whole child with another woman. At that point, I'm sure you would wish that you had never met that person in the first place. At number 2, Alexis DeJoria, Sandra Bullock, and Jesse James. Once a cheater, always a cheater, right? That's normally how things go. Well, that's how drag racer Alexis DeJoria and Sandra Bullock feel about their ex-husband Jesse James. Jesse has earned the label of serial cheater after it was discovered that there was some serious infidelity plaguing not only his past relationship with Sandra Bullock, but also his most recent marriage to Alexis. Both Sandra and Alexis have been caught in a cheating scandal with Jesse, and his most recent scandal revealed that Jesse cheated on Alexis with at least 20 different women. According to some sources, it was revealed that Jesse snuck women into his family home with Alexis, as well as fly women out to Austin just to hook up with them in hotel rooms. It was also reported that Alexis tried her best to work things out with Jesse, but he just wasn't interested in making things work and healing their marriage. After all of this drama and broken trust, both Alexis and Sandra regret ever being married to Jesse because of how much disregard he seemed to have for both of their respective relationships. They both married an awful man, and they certainly deserved a better partner. And finally, at number 1, Mary-Kate Olsen and Olivier Sarkozy. After multiple attempts and a lot of drama, Mary-Kate Olsen filed for divorce from her husband Olivier Sarkozy in 2020. Mary-Kate had tried multiple times to file for divorce from her husband through the New York City courts last year, but because of the pandemic and stay-at-home orders in New York, she was denied twice before finally having her paperwork accepted in late May. She wanted to get out of that marriage as soon as possible because drama and toxicity made it unbearable for her to go on any longer. The two had been married since 2015 and apparently had a number of rough patches, most notably their stance on starting a family. Olivier, who already had children with his ex-wife, didn't want any more, though Mary-Kate did. And on top of that, apparently the tipping point in their relationship was when Olivier's ex-wife moved into the couple's home. Mary-Kate seemed to have had enough with their disagreements, and especially those which involved the ex-wife, so she decided to leave her husband. Following her desire to leave, her husband apparently kicked Mary-Kate out of their home, and she was close to losing all of her personal belongings. She later realized what an awful person she married, but I'm sure she's glad to be out of that relationship now. At number 10, Mike Tyson and Robin Givens. Mike Tyson's first marriage to wife Robin Givens was a rocky one. After 11 months of dating, the couple got married in 1988 in the wake of Robin's pregnancy, and afterwards Mike gave Robin and her mother around $10 million to get them settled. In Mike's memoir, he accused Robin of marrying him and locking him into a relationship for her own gain, as he alleged that her pregnancy and subsequent miscarriage were faked in order to get him to marry her. In the media, Mike was dragged through the mud. There were allegations of mistreatment on Mike's part, and the infamous Barbara Walters interview did not help his image. The interview was originally supposed to be a one-on-one profile of Mike, but before the interview, Robin allegedly pulled Barbara aside and told her that she didn't have the whole truth about them. Robin was then invited to join the interview, where she opened up about the things that she sustained while married to Mike and commenting on how she's been treated.
And I woke up and I said, I don't deserve this. I never had this in my life before, and I'm not going to tolerate this.
Soon after the interview, Robin filed for divorce from Mike and was later caught cheating on him with Brad Pitt. Mike most definitely regrets marrying Robin, as he said so in his book, and others refer to his marriage to Robin as, quote, the one that ruined him. People online still debate who was in the wrong in this relationship and who was worse, but do you have any thoughts on this? Let me know down in the comments. At number 9, Axl Rose and Erin Everly. The tumultuous relationship of Axl Rose and Erin Everly is one that is certainly unforgettable, but not necessarily in the best way. The two met while Axl, the frontman for Guns N' Roses, was still a struggling musician in the early days of his music career. Erin became one of the most important people in Axl's life, being the inspiration for the song Sweet Child of Mine. Despite being a good-looking match on the outside, they had a tumultuous relationship, but that didn't stop them from getting married at a Las Vegas ceremony in 1990. Axl allegedly forced Erin into the marriage after he threatened to harm himself if she didn't marry him, so things were already off to a pretty toxic start. The marriage was later annulled in 1991, just 9 months after getting married, and in 94, Erin filed a civil lawsuit against Axl, where she alleged that she was mistreated by her then husband. Since the split, Erin has auctioned off memorabilia that she had kept from her days with Axl in the band, looking to rid herself of any trace of her old ties with them, as she's carried a lot of that pain with her for so long. From what she said about her marriage to Axl, things were certainly bad, and he wasn't the best person to be married to by a long shot. Before we carry on talking about some of these horrible celebrity marriages, why not subscribe to see more videos like this one and leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far. At number 8, Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Prince Charles and Princess Diana were one of the most beloved celebrity couples. The whole world loved them. Well, they loved Diana more than anything. She was considered to be the people's princess, but behind closed doors she was living a hard life, neglected by her husband. She was always second best in Charles' eyes, having never gotten over his infatuation for Camilla Parker Bowles. Charles and Diana got married in 1981 and had 2 kids together, but because of Charles' extramarital affairs and Diana's unhappiness in the relationship, they got divorced in 1996. Diana regretted marrying Charles because she always knew that there would always be 3 people in the marriage: her, Charles, and Camilla. She deserved so much better, but she got Charles' cold shoulder instead. She was loved by the world, and eventually, after she was freed from the royal family, that became enough. Now, I'm not saying that Charles is an awful person himself, but their whole marriage just wasn't very positive, and Diana got into a pretty unfortunate situation when she married the prince. At number 7, Audrina Patridge and Corey Bowen. The Hill star Audrina Patridge and BMX athlete Corey Bowen had a toxic and tumultuous relationship that was really just negative in every sense of the word. After about 7 years of dating, the couple got engaged in November of 2015 and were soon married by the following year after welcoming their daughter Kira into the world. By 2018, they were done and the legal battle began. Audrina alleged that Corey was violent towards her. Leading up to their official divorce, Audrina had been granted a restraining order preventing Corey from being within 100 feet of his wife and daughter. Audrina claimed that Corey had been very aggressive towards her on multiple occasions and that she just couldn't take it anymore. Luckily, she was able to get out of that horrible relationship and probably regrets getting into it in the first place. Needless to say, this was an awful marriage through and through. At number 6, Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio. When Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio got married, it was a pretty big deal. The actress and the athlete looked like a beautiful match who were deeply in love, having met and married within a relatively short amount of time. They looked to be head over heels for each other, but some believe that their marriage was rushed because it all took place within the time that they had between work engagements. They got married in a quiet City Hall ceremony in January 1954 and turned a work trip to Japan into their honeymoon, but just 9 months later, that spark had faded and their relationship crumbled apart. Joe allegedly wanted a stay-at-home wife, but because Marilyn was at the height of her career, she wouldn't agree to that and wanted to keep working. Joe also apparently had a hard time coming to terms with his wife's image, and apparently her famous subway grate scene was the last straw. Their marriage ended with Marilyn citing mental cruelty as one of the reasons behind their divorce. She didn't like how her husband didn't want to support her, and that's just not what she needed in her life then. In a relationship, you need to be able to support your partner no matter what, so clearly this wasn't a very good match. At number 5, Eddie Murphy and Tracy Edmonds. Comedian Eddie Murphy has had his quarrels with love. After a number of failed relationships, he thought he found the one when he met producer Tracy Edmonds. They dated for a few months before getting engaged, eventually leading to a lavish $500,000 wedding in Bora Bora. You know, things are getting serious when you take it all the way to a tiny island in the middle of the ocean. Their wedding, which was attended by 25 people, wasn't technically legally binding, but they had planned to go through with the whole process upon getting back to the United States after their ceremony, but unfortunately that never ended up happening. It's said that things started to go downhill quite quickly after the ceremony, as people reported Eddie being standoffish and not wanting to spend time with his new bride. Other guests who stayed on the island after the ceremony reported that they could hear Eddie and Tracy yelling at each other, fighting, which ended with Tracy in tears. Just 2 weeks after the wedding, they decided that marriage just wasn't for them and and they called it quits. Even though they weren't technically legally married, their marriage was still awful, and they were equally as bad for each other. Maybe it's for the best that things didn't work out. At number 4, Lena Waithe and Alana Mayo. Screenwriter Lena Waithe and her ex-wife Alana Mayo surprised fans when they announced that they had gotten married in a private and secret ceremony that was a spur-of-the-moment decision, but just 2 months later they announced their separation. In a joint statement to their supporters, the couple announced that they were splitting up, and so as fans do, they speculated as to why they ended their relationship so quickly. Rumors that Lena had been unfaithful started swirling, and some sources even said that their relationship had been rocky even before the couple got married. According to some, Lena and Alana's wedding came after multiple cases of cheating, and that even after their wedding, Lena was still buying expensive gifts for other women. Allegedly, this was all too much for Alana to handle, and so they called it quits. Cheating in a relationship is always a recipe for disaster, and marrying a cheater is just so unfortunate, but at least you get to move on to bigger and better things. At number 3, Cardi B and Offset. Cardi and Offset have had a rocky relationship, and many people say that they are both just awful for each other. Because of all the drama that these two have had in the past during their marriage, and the fact that they almost got divorced, I think it's safe to say that things have been bad before, and it's honestly kind of debatable whether things are actually okay now or not. Though they have been married for over 3 years and have kids together, apparently that hasn't stopped Offset from seeking comfort elsewhere. As I mentioned, Cardi even filed for divorce from Offset in 2020 because of his infidelity, though they later got back together after he spoiled her for her birthday, buying her a $300,000 car and dedicating a billboard to her. Offset has had a number of cheating scandals over the course of his relationship with Cardi. In 2018, about a year after the couple got married in secret, Offset faced rumors that he had cheated on Cardi and even made an adult film with another woman. Back in 2020, he faced more cheating allegations when it was rumored that he even fathered a child during this affair. A lot of people say that this is a toxic relationship, but they just keep coming back to each other, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see how things play out, I guess. At number 2, J-Lo and Alex Rodriguez. Now, even though they weren't technically married, Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez still had the intention of doing so. That is, until things got messy and Alex was caught in a cheating scandal. Cheating scandals aren't anything new for the baseball player, having been accused of infidelity in the past, but this new scandal might have been the one where J-Lo said enough is enough and called off the wedding. In January of this year, Alex was accused of cheating on J-Lo with reality TV star Madison LaCroix. This rumor started circulating after LaCroix was accused of having an alleged affair with a former MLB player. And this was brought up during a taping of a reality reunion show. Shortly after the taping aired, these allegations escalated, with Madison admitting to having been in contact with A-Rod. She insisted that their communications were innocent, saying that they never met up and never had any physical contact, saying, quote, "He's never physically cheated with his fiancée with me." The only solid proof that we have of A-Rod being in contact with Madison comes from a source close to Alex, who told sources that Alex had slid into Madison's DMs and that they had exchanged some, quote, thirsty photos. Not too long after this all went down, A-Rod and J-Lo announced that they were breaking up and called off their engagement. Cheaters are awful. Period. And finally, at number 1, Jana Kramer and Mike Cosson. I stand by the saying, once a cheater, always a cheater, and so do a lot of people who've been in failed relationships. Once your partner does you wrong once, it takes a lot to regain that trust, and sometimes after a bond is broken. This seems to have been the case with football player Mike Cosson and his wife, singer and actress Jana Kramer. The couple faced a cheating scandal in 2016, and after that they spent the next few years trying to work on their marriage, trying to reconcile after this drama affected them so greatly, but the couple recently called it quits on their marriage when Jana took to social media in late April to announce their divorce. Her message to the public read, quote, "It's time. I try to make sense of a reality I never wanted to believe could be possible again. Those words have now become reality. I've fought, y'all. I've loved hard. I've forgiven. I've put the work in. I've given everything I have, and now I have nothing else to give." The couple briefly split following the cheating scandal I mentioned before, where Mike's secrets were exposed, and though they were able to make amends and try to work on regaining their bond, things just weren't meant to work out in the long term, it seems. In her filings, Janet also cited causes and reasons for their divorce, saying that, quote, "Inappropriate marital conduct, irreconcilable differences, and adultery were the reasons behind their failed marriage." In the end, people came to see that Jana married a pretty awful person, but the fact that they're free from each other is for the best, so now they can move on and grow from this. At number 10, Melinda Gates and Bill Gates. Earlier this year, Bill and Melinda Gates had been in and out of the news regarding their divorce, ending their marriage of nearly 30 years. After they announced that they were separating, more and more news started to come out about Bill, which shows that Melinda wasn't always happy and probably regretted her marriage to him at times. The moment where she really wanted to leave, though, was when her husband began a friendship and close bond with Jeffrey Epstein, turning him into a pretty horrible person. Information has come out suggesting that Melinda had made the decision to begin the divorcing process in 2019 after a report by the New York Times had linked Bill and Jeffrey, showing that she just didn't want to be with such a horrible person anymore. Melinda had previously warned Bill about the billionaire when they first met back in 2013. However, despite her forewarnings, Bill allegedly continued to meet with Epstein, later leading him to getting exposed for their relationship when Epstein was arrested in 2019. Melinda seemingly wanted out of her marriage as soon as she realized that Bill was in too deep with Epstein. After all this came out, you can really start to see what Melinda was dealing with for all of those years, and that she had been dealing with an unhappy marriage for quite a while. At number 9, Jude Law and Sienna Miller. Cheaters are awful people, so I guess this next actor falls under that category. Actor Jude Law was involved in a cheating scandal in the early 2000s that destroyed his potential marriage to Sienna Miller and left a lot of people so surprised. After getting engaged in 2004, Jude Law was exposed for cheating on his fiancée with a woman named Daisy Wright. In 2006, Daisy, the nanny for Jude's children, came forward about how she and Jude were allegedly having an affair. She ended up spilling the beans on their whole relationship in an interview she did with the Sunday Mirror, and went in depth about her affair with the actor, sharing every scandalous detail. A lot of people were shocked to hear about this whole affair, but eventually Jude came clean to the public about everything and issued an apology to Sienna. Now, even though they weren't married yet, it was a plan to do so, so it counts, right? Jude ruined his potential future marriage because he decided to cheat, so that's pretty unfortunate that their marriage ended before it even began. Before we carry on talking about some of the horrible people that some celebrities have married, why not take a brief moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Beyonce and Jay-Z. Even the biggest celebrity couples have their problems, and sometimes they can be fixed. Take Beyonce and Jay-Z for example. A lot of people think that Beyonce married an awful person for what Jay-Z has put her through, especially with their troubles with infidelity. It all started when Solange and Jay-Z got into that big elevator fight at the Met. There was a lot of drama surrounding that fight, but no one really knew what provoked it until word came out saying that it was because Jay-Z had cheated. Though no one really acknowledged or spoke out about this apparent infidelity, things got worse when Beyonce low-key exposed her husband's infidelity on her album Lemonade, where she made several subtle and not so subtle comments about her husband's alleged affair. Jay-Z had to respond with his music, where he apologized to his wife for his infidelity and addressed some of their relationship issues. After all of this drama both in and out of the music world, they were able to seek out couples therapy to rebuild their relationship, but for a while there, things looked pretty bad and it looked like Beyonce may have made a mistake by marrying Jay-Z. At number 7, Kim K and Kanye West. Kanye has been through a lot over the last year or so. He lost the presidential race, and now he's lost his marriage, and Kim's moved on with Pete Davidson of all people. Kim and Kanye's relationship looked like it had been on its last leg for a while, especially after all of the drama between Kanye and the Kardashians following his presidential campaign rant and his Twitter meltdowns. Kanye has even said that he knows he didn't do enough to make their relationship survive. There was, however, a lot more going on behind the scenes that we didn't quite know about. Apparently, there came a point where things got too complicated and too toxic to handle. Kim talked about some of the rocky things that happened with her and Kanye towards the end, like how he spent much of his time away from his family in Wyoming and how their communication was at an all-time low. There were also reports that Kim and Kanye were fighting a lot, and there was also a rumor that Kanye had tried to sleep with another woman while still married to Kim. Things were clearly just very toxic and weren't meant to work out in the long run, so it could be argued that maybe Kim shouldn't have married Kanye. At number 6, Catherine Pais and Austin McBroom. Basketball player turned YouTube family vlogger Austin McBroom has been in countless scandals over the years, and the amount of times he's been accused of cheating on his wife Catherine is just too much to count. He's no doubt an awful person for being unfaithful to his partner, and though he continues to deny each accusation, they still keep coming. One of the latest scandals he faced alleged that not only did he have a secret relationship with another woman, but that he has a secret daughter too. A TikTok
accuser took to the platform to make the allegation that Austin was the secret father of her child and that Austin's wife paid the other woman to terminate her pregnancy. This was mostly just speculation, but after someone else came forward claiming to work at the daycare where Austin's secret daughter attends, saying that Austin is listed in the child's paperwork as the legitimate father, people were starting to wonder if this is actually true. Like I said before, these cheating allegations really aren't anything new for Austin, so no one knows what to think anymore. But one thing is for certain, and that is Catherine married a pretty awful guy. At number 5, LaToya Luckett and Tomicus Walker. Former Destiny's Child member LaToya Luckett and ex-husband Tomicus Walker had a really rocky falling out, and it could be said that she married an awful person. The R&B singer announced earlier this year that she and her husband were getting a divorce following a cheating scandal that started up last year. In the fall of 2020, footage was leaked which allegedly showed Tommy in a hotel room with another woman. The video showed a man who looked like Tommy asleep in the room, and another video alleged that some kind of indiscretion had taken place that night. The evidence to support the allegations saying that this is in fact Tomicus in the video is that the man in the footage has a very similar tattoo of the name Ruby on his leg. It seems as though this was all the evidence that was needed for LaToya to want to call it quits and leave her husband. Tomicus denies all cheating allegations, blaming, quote, outside forces on the downfall of his marriage, but judging by what happened, I think it's a case of cheaters being horrible people. At number 4, Wiz Khalifa and Amber Rose. Wiz Khalifa and Amber Rose were married for some time after tying the knot in 2013, but after 14 months of marriage and a lot of toxicity, they divorced, and it was a pretty nasty breakup. There were allegations of cheating, and the custody of their son was also up for debate. Years later, Amber Rose opened up about her brief marriage to Wiz Khalifa and the toxicity around it, and spoke out about her regrets concerning their marriage. She once said how she regretted getting married when she did because they didn't give themselves enough time to grow in their relationship, and that this was one of the things that contributed to the hostility. Amber also expressed that she felt as though they would have had a more successful marriage if they got married later in life, calling their wedding at the time a mistake. Now, I'm going to argue that maybe they were just awful people for each other because their whole situation was just one big mess, but what do you guys think? At number 3, Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt. Before Brangelina took over Hollywood, Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were a thing. Jennifer and Brad's romance story began in the 90s, meeting for the first time in 1994, but going on their first date in 98. After 2 years of dating, the wedding of the year took place in 2000 on a bluff in Malibu. Things were okay until Angelina came into the picture after she and Brad met while working on Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Fast forward a little bit to 2005 and Bennifer was over. They filed for divorce, making room for Brangelina. It was a whirlwind breakup because of the cheating scandals and rumors, as it was said that Brad cheated on Jen with Angie and she became the other woman of sorts. Even as things died down over the years, tabloids would still bring up this drama from time to time, almost making it seem as though things weren't exactly over for this unfortunate love triangle. I guess you could say that Jen married an awful person for what Brad put her through. At number 2, Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. Hurting others is always negative, and going out of your way to put someone down can make you an awful person. No one deserves to be treated poorly, and no one should support that kind of behavior. This is what makes Chrissy Teigen such an awful person, and since John Legend married her, this couple fits this list. This year, Chrissy was exposed for her dark side. She faced backlash for resurfaced tweets and DMs directed at Courtney Stodden from back in the day. These messages were really hurtful and mean, and they really hurt Courtney, as they've come out saying that these messages affected them greatly when they were younger. When Chrissy got canceled, she didn't handle it well and didn't really take accountability for her actions, and made the backlash towards her an even bigger deal, playing the victim in this whole situation. This behavior isn't something positive, and I couldn't imagine being married to someone so negative. And finally, at number 1, Marilyn Manson and Lindsay Usage. A huge scandal that happened this year came from singer Marilyn Manson, and it shocked a lot of people as it exposed all the terrible things that he's done to past partners. It all started when his ex-partner, actress Evan Rachel Wood, came forward in an Instagram post to name Manson as someone who had harmed her for a long time. In her statement, Evan cited how manipulative Marilyn was, accusing him of brainwashing her, and told her fans about how Manson caused her so much mental, physical, and emotional pain. This caused more people to come forward later on, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who came forward with some of the horrible encounters she had with Manson. Knowing all of this, Marilyn could certainly be called an awful person, and once again, I couldn't imagine being married to this person after knowing all of this.
Starting us off at number 10 is Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande. Their relationship was a whirlwind and lasted less than 6 months total. Many people said they were taking things too far when they announced their engagement shortly after they started dating back in May 2018. Reports say it was exactly 24 days after they started officially dating. They were over the top with their engagement in the media, flaunting the news and doing televised interviews about it. They were just an over-the-top couple in general. Like the one time they caused a scene on the red carpet and ran away from the cameras. I don't know if you guys remember that. But the two of them split not long after their engagement because news broke that Ariana Grande's ex-boyfriend Mac Miller had passed away. Since then, she's gone on to make jokes about their engagement in her lyrics, and he's made jokes about her in his comedy Netflix special. So coming in next, number 9 is Sammy Sweetheart and Ronnie. Anyone who watched Jersey Shore knew how toxic these two were for each other, and their fights were too far pretty much every time. Before entering the Jersey Shore house, Ronnie said he had one rule, and that was to never fall in love at the Jersey Shore. But then he met Sammy and they quickly hooked up and started dating. It took no time at all for them to have a very hot and cold relationship. With a mix of alcohol, the temptation of other people, and 5 other roommates in the house, the two of them were always down each other's throats. Things got so bad that one fight led to Ronnie completely destroying her things and physically breaking her bed, trying to throw it off the top deck, and Sam was on it, like holding on for her life like a spider monkey. Basically all her stuff was completely ruined. And because of their past relationship and how toxic it was, Sammy is the only housemate that has not returned to do the reboot series, which happened 6 years after that. Swiping the number 8 spot is Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth. In the last 8 years, they've been on and off on numerous occasions with some pretty nasty splits. They were even married at one point, but then got divorced, and after being apart for 2 years, they came back together just a few months ago. To say their fights were bad is an understatement, and the only reason we know this is because one of them was caught on camera. In 2015, a year before their wedding, they had a huge fight in Germany, and the video footage of the argument went viral online. Some fans were there when it happened and filmed the entire thing and then stayed with Shia after Mia left in a cab. Shia said to the people on camera if he didn't walk away when he did, then he would have killed her. Later in the video, he even talked to the fans about purchasing a gun in Germany. It was honestly scary stuff, you guys. After I watched the footage, I was like, this is not something to joke about. However, this was all around the time that he was going through an alcohol addiction and also had multiple run-ins with the law. But they are back together, so let's hope that it's different this time around. Best of luck. In spot number 7 is Courtney Cox and Johnny McDade. They first started dating in 2014 and were engaged just 6 months later before they called it off in 2015. So a lot happened in just 1 year. Some would say that getting engaged that soon and ending it that quickly after is already too far for a couple. But then they got back together the following year in 2016 and they have been together ever since. But shortly after they rekindled their relationship, the paparazzi caught them on different occasions fighting in public. One time a heated argument was caught while they were at a restaurant in West London. Every couple fights, let's be honest, but there seems to be a lot of on and off between them throughout the relationship. It just doesn't feel very certain. People have also wondered why they haven't gotten re-engaged by now or even married if things are going strong this time, because they've been together for a few years now. 4 years. Again, like after the first thing. We're moving on to number 6 and we have Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Before Kanye West and Kim took over the media, Kim was once married to Kris Humphries for a whopping 72 days. We got to see a closer look at their relationship because everything was filmed for their reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They were often spotted fighting. Even just before Kim filed for a divorce, the paparazzi caught them fighting and having a huge argument in a car in LA. She yelled at him and left him to find his own ride home. Footage from her reality show Kim and Kourtney Take New York also showed footage of Kim punching Kris. She described it as playful banter, but others started to deem it as domestic violence and she faced a ton of backlash for it. We've made it halfway through the countdown and we have Jessie Nelson and Jake Rosh. Jessie was having the time of her life while at the release party for her girl group Little Mix. They were releasing their album called Get Weird, but by the end of the party she was left in tears after a huge fight with her fiance. They got into a heated argument during the event, argument, causing Jake to leave and Jessie sitting in a car with mascara running down her face. The end of the argument was caught on camera because tons of paparazzi were there for the event, and Jessie had a breakdown right in front of them. Turns out that Jake went to a local hotel alone and she took a cab back to her hotel. But it seemed like they were able to shake it off very quickly because hours into the next morning they posted this affectionate photo on social media. To me, honestly, it just feels like a cover-up. I feel like people post a happy picture after an argument to like confirm like we're okay when they're not. Rolling into number 4 is Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. It's hard to forget the constant on and off relationship they once had for many years. They started dating when they were young, so we could make more excuses that time around, but then they tried to rekindle the flame in 2012. TMZ reported that they went out on a dinner date and Selena left just 10 minutes in because of something Justin said, and when he tried to go to her house later, apparently she refused to let him in. Then, in 2014, they got into a public argument at an airport and she was seen stomping out of a van and throwing her purse on the ground. Justin refused to get out of the car for some time and they went through the airport separately. It's safe to say that it might be for the best that they didn't end up together, even though a lot of fans were really rooting for them. I was. At one point. In the 3rd spot is Beyonce and Jay-Z. They seem to have successfully pulled through a rough patch in their marriage after Jay-Z admitted to cheating on her. But there was a time when people thought they were not gonna make it after pictures were surfacing of them fighting in public during a dinner. But these pictures came right after an infamous elevator fight between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister, which was all caught on camera. The surveillance footage from an elevator captured her sister physically attacking Jay-Z, and fans thought it was about the cheating scandal that had gone on. The whole thing was really intense and it actually caused a lot of chaos in the media and in their marriage, I'm sure. Beyonce released her album Lemonade shortly after all of this, which basically confirmed the affair publicly and how they chose to work through it. Sniping number 2 on our list is Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. I never followed this couple much, but everything I did see of them in the media was always bad, so I just knew of them for being very toxic. They were together for a long time. They started dating after they met on set in 2012, and only a year into the relationship, Emma was arrested on domestic battery charges. A fight broke out between them and it resulted in Evan getting a bloody nose. Camera caught them having a brutal argument at a Comic-Con party in 2014 where Emma was crying and screaming at Evan in the midst of a large group of people. Then, down the road in 2017, there were cheating rumors going around about Emma with another actor, Hayden Christensen, and they were spotted fighting again in public. Honestly, there's just way too many fights to name, but domestic battery charges is enough to land them on this list. Finally, at number 1, we have Chris Brown and Rihanna. If you already know the story between them, then you would understand why they are taking number 1 on this list. I mean, what a nightmare that whole thing was. At one point, they were one of the cutest couples in Hollywood, but then things went horribly wrong when Chris laid his hands on Rihanna, causing injuries both physically and mentally. People will never forget the fight between them that happened at the Grammys in 2009 when they had a screaming match inside a rented car, which ended up turning violent. Photos of her battered face went viral, and Chris was later charged with assault. Even after the fight, they did continue to date, which really surprised people. They were on and off between 2012 and 2013, but then they finally realized that they could not maintain a healthy relationship.
Number 10, Kirsten Dunst and Garrett Hedlund. This is a great way to start off the list because even though this public fight was embarrassing, it seemed like the couple were able to shrug it off relatively quickly. We're going to talk about the epic couple fight that happened way back in 2012 between actress Kirsten Dunst and her on-the-road co-star Garrett Hedlund, who just recently started dating at the time. Although the actors had plenty in common and things started going well initially, cameras caught the couple having a major argument on their way to a movie theater, which was so intense it looked like it was about more than which movie they were seeing. It looked like something had sparked a pretty big fight as the pair continued to hurl insults at each other on the way. Whatever happened in the car that day, it was probably just a petty argument because they ended up dating for another 4 years. And in 2015, Kirsten said, quote, "We're the same age, we have similar backgrounds, he feels like family to me." But sadly, Sadly, like most other good things, the relationship came to an end in April of 2016. Number 9. John Mayer and Jessica Simpson. If there's one thing that Hollywood knows by now, it's that John Mayer is a bit of a playboy. His reputation as a womanizer definitely precedes him, so that's why everyone at one point was really surprised to see him with Jessica Simpson. He raised eyebrows when he used the phrase sexual napalm to describe his romance with Simpson, and even compared her to a certain illicit substance that he said he couldn't get enough of. The couple dated for a year, but they broke up several times throughout their relationship. In fact, sources close to the couple told people that things were always on and off between the pair, and they had arguments constantly. Unfortunately, 2006 marked the year that they decided to finally split for good. The couple was on vacation in Mexico when there were photos snapped of them arguing on the balcony of their room. Jessica looked like she was in tears, and it was undoubtedly a breakup. The news of their split came shortly after the photos were released, meaning there's a good chance that the paparazzi actually captured the moment when Jessica and John called things off for good. Number 8. Adrienne Maloof and Sean Stewart. Apart from their almost 20-year age difference, it seemed like there were a myriad of other issues that plagued the brief relationship between Rod Stewart's son, Sean Stewart, and former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member Adrienne Maloof. The couple split up after having a blowout fight on the red carpet. According to eyewitnesses, the duo arrived separately, and Adrienne walked the red carpet with an even younger man, 24-year-old Jacob Bush. TMZ spotted the pair fighting next to the red carpet at the charity event, which definitely marked the end of their on-again, off-again relationship. The argument between them got heated, and Sean could be seen storming off, telling his ex, "I'm done," when her date tried to approach him. Stewart later claimed to Brandy Glanville on her podcast, quote, "I do want to clear up one rumor. She never broke my heart." But when it came time to explain the bizarre public fight, the reality TV star only told Star Magazine, quote, "I have a lot of changes going on in my life. I went through a period of darkness, and I am much happier now than ever. Things are good." Number 7. Bradley Cooper and Irina Shayk. Bradley Cooper and Irina Shayk were one of the power couples in Hollywood. The two dated for nearly 4 years before calling it quits in 2019. However, the two have created many memories which fans fondly remember, even one of them at the famed tennis tournament. Paparazzi caught what looked like a super awkward argument between actor Bradley Cooper and his model girlfriend at the 2016 Wimbledon's men final. In the video footage from that day, Bradley was caught whispering into Irina's ear while she appears to cry and turn her head away from the actor. She appeared to be dabbing tears out of her eyes and then crossed her arms and refused to look at him. In the video, he then went back to watching the tennis, and she just sat in silence beside him. While it's not clear why the two were really fighting or what they could have been possibly fighting about, but that didn't stop people online from speculating wildly the way the internet loves to do. Some even suggested that Bradley and Irina were fighting over his ex-girlfriend Suki Waterhouse. Although it feels like you can almost cut the tension with a knife, TMZ later reported that sources close to the couple claimed Irina was simply battling pollen allergies. Well, it really could have been anything. Number 6. Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck. The stars were photographed having a very emotional moment inside a car prior to their divorce. Back in 2016, the pair were arguing in their SUV after dropping their 3 children at school when things started to get really heated. Just looking at the picture that has been circulated online, you can tell that Jennifer was getting very frustrated with whatever Ben was saying, and she proceeded to make hand gestures throughout the argument, probably because she felt like she wasn't being heard. At one point, she can actually be seen breaking down in tears inside the vehicle. But this instance wasn't a one-off, and recently it seems like Ben has a lot of explaining to do. The 49-year-old was caught earlier this year puffing on his cigarette fiercely while appearing to be in another fight with Jennifer on the streets of Los Angeles. The exes appeared to be locked in a heated conversation outside her car just hours after it was revealed that Ben and his now fiancée Jennifer Lopez bought a $50 million home together. The pair rekindled their relationship in April last year, almost almost immediately after she ended her engagement with Alex Rodriguez. So the timing is definitely interesting. Number 5. Jessie Nelson and Jake Roche. When the former couple arrived together at the album release party for Little Mix's Get Weird in 2015, they were supposed to be in high spirits for the event. But the evening soon took a turn for the worst, as somehow it ended up with Jessie crying. It was reported that Jessie allegedly had a massive fight with her then fiance before she decided she had had enough and stormed out. A source told the Daily Mirror newspaper that the girls had been having a great night, drinking and even dancing on the tables the whole night until the early hours. But somewhere around the AM, Jessie and Jake had a tiff, and Jake stomped off to a nearby hotel, and Jessie was clearly sobbing and she took a cab home. The singer was spotted leaving the venue in London and hopping into a cab in the early hours of the morning with makeup smudged around her face and eyes bloodshot after the fight. The couple announced their split the following year, so it looked like in this case the fight may have been indicative of a larger issue in their relationship. According to reports, the reason they split was because Jessie wanted to start a family, but Jake, who was only 24, felt that he was too young to be a father and that they had the rest of their lives to have children. Number 4. Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. Their infamous on and off again relationship was definitely not free from arguments, and some of them were caught on camera. Right before Selena and Justin got on a plane to Paris, they got into a huge fight while at Princess Juliana International Airport in St. Martin, and unfortunately it looked like a massive one. In the video, we see Justin and Selena sitting in their car outside the airport in St. Martin before their Paris flight. Selena storms out of the car, walks into the airport by herself and throws her bag on the floor. Justin didn't immediately follow her, instead he chose to sit in the car for a little bit, which probably made her even more mad. When he did enter a few minutes later, she was chatting with a fan that had a baby, and Justin came over and they silently walked to their flight. You could tell both of them were equally frustrated, but in 2014, this was only one of the many public fights that the couple would go on to have. In fact, after their romantic trip, they went to Paris Fashion Week, which led to more arguing because Justin reportedly went to dinner with Kendall Jenner and partied with her at the same party that Selena was at. She flew out the next morning alone, leaving Justin in Paris, and then deleted him off Instagram. Number 3. Johnny McGade and Courtney Cox. These two are also known for their on-again, off-again relationship, and after getting back together once again after a brief split, the actress and her musician boyfriend were seen arguing outside a West London restaurant and appeared to be exchanging heated words as they dined outside during Courtney's visit to the British capital. In one shot, the former Friends actress can be seen waving her arms and phone in front of Johnny's face, while in another she looks frustrated as she held her head in her hands. Not long after, she gave her then fiance the silent treatment before getting to her feet to leave the restaurant. For some background, the pair have been engaged, unengaged, and living separately for the majority of their relationship, even though they've been together for 7 years. And so this argument really fueled rumors of more relationship problems. The argument was reportedly about the couple planning their nuptials when they started fighting about the finer details, and insiders told reporters that the couple couldn't agree where they would live, as Johnny supposedly wanted to move back to the UK and Courtney wanted to remain in LA. Number 2. Christopher Hivju and Guy Mulvere. If you forget about Season 8, Game of Thrones was really an epic TV series that took over the world as soon as Season 1 hit, and made several of its stars household names. Norwegian actor Christopher was one of the stars who appeared in the series over the years, but it was his public fight with his wife, Guy, who is a photographer, that really got people talking. They say that redheads are known for their temper, so it seems like these two are really perfect for each other. The couple were spotted having a heated argument as they were shopping in Los Angeles, as Guy had reportedly been looking for a new dress. No one really knows what the fight was about, but onlookers claimed that their argument lasted for over an hour and escalated very quickly. During the fight, you can see the actor raises his hands in the air in frustration, while his wife, who looks incredibly distraught, has her eyes to the ground the whole time. The fight continued before they both stormed off. Just goes to show you how celebrities are normal people too. Number 1. Shia LaBeouf and Carolyn Foe. Yes, he is back on the list because the actor has a seriously extensive track record of public spats. Shia LaBeouf is fairly well known for his outlandish behavior, where he frequently just takes it way too far by getting kicked out of a performance of Cabaret or being arrested for public drunkenness in 2017. But this fight dates back to 2012 when he and his then girlfriend Carolyn were caught fighting on camera and having a tearful exchange on the side of the road in LA. It was then that rumors started circulating about the extent of Shia's involvement in the sex scenes in Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac, which were reportedly real. So naturally his girlfriend would be upset. She did not seem too thrilled that her actor boyfriend Shia had shared an intimate scene with his co-star in the movie. But Carolyn was pretty quick to deny the fight, telling the New York Daily News, quote, "It's none of anybody's business. Everything is fine with us. It was nothing affiliated with this movie." Although that might be true, clearly something had caused the couple to have a public screaming match on the side of the road in broad daylight. And just like that, in November the same year, the couple had officially decided to split for good.